I feel like I'm at that age and I've had enough experience to give some advice on relationships and being a man. And this is something I would have liked to have heard when I was younger, as a younger guy. It's a bit different to the other videos I make, so apologies if it's a bit crude and it might not be for you. But I just want to talk about this because there's a lot of crazy shit going on with men and dating and relationships and all this manosphere garbage. And I feel like a lot of young guys are really confused about love and relationships and dating. I just have two pieces of advice. I think for men, it's very easy to get yourself in bad situations because of the old Buck Johnson, we'll call it. A lot of guys get themselves in relationships and sometimes end up marrying or staying with a partner for a long, long time. And it's a lot of, I feel like a lot of the time it's not the right person for them. And, you know, it can really impact your life when you end up being with the wrong person and having kids with the wrong person. And I feel like that comes it comes down to a man's sex drive a lot of the time, and his Buck Johnson making a lot of decisions for him, getting him in trouble. And I feel like men should be single for quite a lot of their 20s to actually get to know themselves and work on themselves. Because I think, yeah, the Buck Johnson does a lot of talking and it gets them into some bad situations and some relationships, and a lot of heartbreak and trauma can come out of that. What I want you to do as a young guy is think to yourself, if I didn't have the Buck Johnson, if that thing was cut off, thrown away, is this a person I want to spend time with and that I actually like being around? Because I know for myself and a lot of my friends, I can see that answers a lot of questions, you know? Like, if sex wasn't in the equation, would you want to be with this person? And I feel like that answers a lot of questions. You know, we can get ourselves in a lot of bad situations because we want that sex. We want, that sexual energy. And I feel like that will answer your question. If I didn't have the Buck Johnson, would I be doing this? And you can waste a lot of your time and the ladies' time if you just keep listening to that Buck Johnson. What I also want to say is, as well, as there's a lot of talk these days about men ignoring who they are and trying to be someone they're not in order to get chicks, and doing all these crazy things, changing their personality. and I feel like this is really harmful. I feel like this is absolute bullshit. And it also comes down to, like, there's a lot of talk about you need to be a millionaire, you need to be 6 foot, you need to be driving a Maserati, you need to be this and that, and having all the status. And I feel like it's leading men to finding women that actually aren't good for them. And, you know, I think if a man wants to be happy in a relationship, he has to be himself. He has to be vulnerable. He has to show his vulnerabilities. Because, dude, like, do you want to be playing a character your whole life in order to maintain a relationship with a woman? The person who's going to love and care for you should accept you kind of warts and all. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have self-improvement. Of course, we should work to be the best versions of ourselves. But if you're trying to be this, like, character who's perfect and doesn't have any like imperfections, you're going to be freaking miserable, man. And if you keep focusing on materialism and being this alpha, driving a Maserati and all this shit, you're going to attract the wrong chick. You're going to attract chicks that you don't even want to spend 2 minutes with. You want someone who's down to earth, who's going to be loving, who's going to accept you for you. And I just feel like a lot of the advice and talk out there is leading men to find these terrible women who they actually don't want to spend time with. And then it's creating this whole us first them thing. There's a lot of talk online. Men and women are hating each other because you're either this like stuck up chick or this like alpha manosphere guy. It's not true. There's normal people out there. There's like amazing women, there's amazing guys, but the chat online has created this terrible toxic atmosphere where it's like us versus them, which is absolute bullshit. I can tell you now though that yeah, there's amazing people out there, and that you need to stop listening to all this stuff and just be yourself. Like, your soulmate at the end of the day is going to be someone who loves you for you no matter what. And that's why so many of these celebrities and stuff are so cooked, because by the time they're so successful and have all this crap, it's very hard to find someone who actually loves them for them. And I just wanted to say that. I think it's very toxic thinking like you need to be someone completely different in order to find someone who loves you. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I needed to say. You might disagree with me. You might think I'm being a little bitch about this, but being 30 now and kind of having a bit of experience, I want to let you guys know that a lot of the stuff out there online is kind of bullshit, and it's not going to lead you to find a partner that makes you happy. Yeah.